Coming at you live from my home studio in beautiful La Puente, California. This is the All Dodgers Podcast. Welcome to another edition of All Dodgers Live, a Monday off-day edition of the show, part of the Believe network of podcasts. What's going on, Clint Nation? How you doing on this fine Monday? Sound off in the comments. Let me know where you are representing your Dodgers fandom today on this Monday, because we got a good one. We got a jam-packed show. It's just me. It's just you. So let's hang out. Let's have some fun. We got a little bit of Brewers series reaction just because I haven't talked about it yet here on the internet. So we'll talk Brewers series. We'll look ahead, of course, later on in the show to the Phillies series, which some say is a measuring stick series. We'll have some thoughts from the friend of the show voicemail hotline. Plus I have, of course, my overreaction for Monday. And we haven't done it in a little while. Some injury news, a little bit of injury updates. There was a setback with Max Muncy. How does that affect the team? And, of course, trade rumors. I already see my guy Showtime LA in the chat saying Skubal, Randy Rengifo, bang, World Series champions. So a little bit later in the show, we're going to be talking trades. I want to know what you guys want to see this Dodgers team do before the deadline on July 30th. Before we get into the show, I got to remind you, subscribe to the channel. Would appreciate it. I think that's the button. There it is. Hit the subscribe button, guys. We are less than 50 away. I think it's about 50 subs away from 7,000 subscribers. That's pretty fucking cool, and couldn't have done it without you, quite literally, because you're the guys who are subscribing. So if you're not subscribed, do it. It doesn't hurt you. I promise I don't bite. It helps the algorithm, all that kind of stuff. And hit the thumbs up button if you enjoy Dodgers talk on the internet or something like that. But yeah, sound off in the comments. Let's do this thing. Let's have a little fun. And we'll have some fun by me telling you that BetOnline is your number one source for all of your sports betting needs this season, from baseball, which is what we watch, golf, maybe that's what you watch, soccer. I don't watch soccer, that's for sure. But right on up to the fights, or down to the fights, the top fights in MMA and UFC and boxing, every stat, every matchup, even live odds and spreads while games are being played. That's right there on BetOnline. When the game's over, head on over to their online casino. Get in on a game of blackjack. Get in on a game of poker. Unwind with over 150 slot games to choose from. That is pretty cool. Head to the website today. Get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE, that is BLEAV, for a 50% free bet credit on your first deposit. That is up to $250, which is just as good as money, almost, I think. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it is. BetOnline, the game starts here. And now I see our lovely people in the chat. Diane Schroeder in the chat. What's going on? BC says too many off days for the Dodgers. Hey, these boys, if we're being real, these boys need this off day pretty bad. They need as much of the All-Star break as possible that is coming next week. That we're in the final stretch of 6 games. 6 games until we can officially put a pin in the unofficial first half of the season. But of course, we've already passed the first half of the season. Let's see. Noah Ortega is in the chat. Not going to be able to actually hang out in the chat, but will be listening. Noah did call in on our friend of the show voicemail hotline, so we will hear from Noah a little bit later. Michael Carrillo asking for an Isaac Paredes from Tampa Bay. Tampa's still kind of in it. When we talk trades a little bit later, part of my through line in our trade conversation, and I'm going to be, ramping up trade talk. I don't like to get into trade rumors and all that too early. I don't need to anymore. I don't write about these rumors. I don't need you guys to click on articles to hopefully appease my boss anymore. I get to talk to you guys about shit I care about talking about, and talk to you about it in a way that hopefully you can enjoy and you could feel the love from it. So now we're at that point where we start talking a little bit about rumors. We start bringing on some friends. We start talking to, we'll say, legitimate-ish people about what we think this team could do over the next few weeks. But Tampa Bay, they're kind of still in it, if I'm not mistaken, and the through line is we need some teams to really, really tank over the next few weeks until that trade deadline. Josh Gitt, I love it. I see a free Andre Lipsius in there, so I'm going to put a About damn time we need to see that kid up here. Maybe one of these days, maybe not. BC is in the chat. Greg Osterberg is in the chat. What is going on? Good to see you guys in here. Richard Flores, of course. Devore checking in the house. As always, appreciate you hanging out. Bob Nightingale, we're going to not hear from, but a little bit of referencing of Bob Nightingale later on in the show. The real one, perhaps the real one. But let's get into the stuff nobody necessarily cares too much about, but that Brewers series, playing up to the competition. This is something we talked about in the series preview last Thursday or Friday. The Dodgers looked like crap against the Giants. They looked like crap against the Diamondbacks, and all of a sudden you play against a team that is good, that is better, that is at the top of their division, and the Dodgers look a lot better. If I did the math right, Dodgers are 25-17 against teams over 500, 39 against teams under 500 or 500 and below. That latter number needs to be higher. And again, I don't know if I did the math right. Somebody double check me and make sure that if I didn't do it wrong, correct me. But be only 11 games over 500 against bad teams, teams with a 500 record or less. That's not cutting it for a Dodgers team that's supposed to be this good, that comes into the season with all the hype, all the pomp, all the circumstance, all that money, all that commitment, all that Shohei Ohtani, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Tyler Glasnow, all that money. Teoscar Hernandez being 11 games over 500. It's not quite good enough. All that said, I'm okay with the Brewers series, and you should be okay with the Brewers series because, hey, they take 2 of 3. Game 3, I think we all can admit. I saw some people in the Dodgers territory chat earlier talking about that series, a little bit of a punt. Also, a little bit of an opportunity for other teams to see what this kid Justin Wrobleski is about. Two bad pitches away from having a really, really good outing. Probably shouldn't have been out there, in the 5th inning, but it is what it is. Dave trying to buy some time for that very beleaguered, very tired bullpen, because that bullpen has had to work over the last 2-3 weeks or so. Help is on the way, of course. There was enough offense in the series. You lead off that series with the Glasnow game. Glas struggles. He gives up the grand slam, but overall decent enough start, I guess. You take away the grand slam, it's good. Obviously, if you don't give up runs, it's a great start. Bob Student 10 in the chat, saw you in there earlier. Thanks for hanging out with us, Bob Student 10. Saying Glasnow also looking tired, and that was where I was going with this. I'm trying not to always lean negative on these shows. But I understand what sells a little bit here. I don't want to also, as I was saying earlier, I get to kind of do my own thing here. I don't want to paint everything in rose, tinted glasses. I'm not here to blow smoke up your ass and pretend everything is fine. You should have a little bit of worry about Tyler Glasnow. And I talked about it last Friday, I believe it was. This is the first time in his career, if I'm not mistaken, that he's at this point. What is he at? 115, 110 innings. I forget where he's at exactly. I don't have it open, and I'm a one-man show here. But this is, from start to finish, there was no break. He hasn't been on the injured list. If he, in the past, has done 50 innings and then 80 innings, like maybe he did a little bit last year, that's one kind of figure, or that's something to take into consideration, I should say. So you worry about him being a little tired, a little worn out, and maybe having a little bit of a dead arm. But still, overall, did what he needed to do, kind of played the stopper-ish for the first couple of innings. And it's something to watch, though. Definitely got to watch Glas over the next couple of weeks. I really don't want the dude to pitch in the All-Star game. He's going. He's fine. Let him get the star on his baseball reference page. I don't let him play. I don't need to see any Dodgers in the All-Star game. I don't care about All-Star berths outside of people like the first-timers, like Gavin Stone getting the snub. That sucks. I think he will make it. I think he eventually will get honored, I guess we'll say. But then again, the Dodgers already have 6 All-Stars. That's a lot of Dodgers representation in the National League. So maybe he doesn't, but he's very deserving. But again, I don't care. I don't need somebody like him. 109 innings. Thank you, Modelo Ferry, in the chat. Let me know that Glasnow had 109 innings. So it's pretty close. I said 110. Elisheva Jones saying Glasnow, not Glasnow. Gavin Stone absolutely should be an all-star, and I think he will get there. I hope he would get there. Hopefully, the people that make those decisions make the right decisions. Bob Student 10 said, totally agree. October ring over Midsummer Fling. Hell yes, I like that. Well, I like one of the things they were also talking about. I think it was in the broadcast, either yesterday, Sunday's broadcast or Saturday's broadcast. Kind of how useless, I wouldn't say useless. I think it was Saturday's, but the All-Star game, it's a half-season award, but you get like all this love, you get all the accolades of being a 9-time All-Star, but we've seen so many players over the years. I don't want to get into the whole All-Star thing, but you see them kind of fall off. You see them, get tired or whatever. I was one of those guys at first. I was very in on the idea of Shohei Ohtani being in the home run derby. No, I don't care. Let him go in there. Let him get 1 at bat, maybe 2 at bats at the DH in the game. Then I'm fine. Then I'm more than fine. But anyways, let's get into more of the chats here. Kenny Chung saying that Tarik Skubal isn't on the market. I'm off the Flaherty bandwagon now since he has 2 PRP injections within the last 3 weeks. It's a good point there from Kenny Chung. My understanding is Skubal could be got at the right deal. We'll talk more about this later on in the show. But that points out kind of another one of the through lines I'm going to address later when we're talking trade deadline is there are no perfect options for this team. There are no there's the guy. That's the guy that's going to put this team over the top. The guys that are going to put the team over the top are already in-house, but they need to get healthy. And they're a long way from getting healthy. But anyways, move on. That's all I got to say about that. Hold on, I'm going to do a little housekeeping here. Guys, share the stream. Hit that like button if you're enjoying what's going on so far. Hit that like button if you want the Dodgers to go out and make the trade for all of your favorite players. I think that's how it works. I don't know, but what else? Let's see. Kenny Chung saying I'm not down with Teo in the home run derby either. I would, if we have seen some players kind of struggle in the home run derby, or at least hit and then struggle after. I don't care. I don't need other teams worrying about or seeing our players and all this kind of crap. Just let them be focused on the important thing, which is October play, which is at the bare minimum getting out of the first round because, it has been a hot minute. All right, let's get into some Monday overreactions. We've got a couple of calls. Obviously, you're coming off of a series win against the Brewers. You're going to feel pretty good. Not too much to overreact about. And I'll let people know if you guys have the number, if you guys are supporters on Patreon, if you're supporters here on YouTube members, which, by the way, there's a lot of you guys that have been gifted memberships. With that, you could also call, leave your voice for the show. You could join us on Discord, all that kind of stuff. If you didn't know about that, check your emails. I think YouTube might have sent you some stuff. But either way, there's not a whole lot to complain about when your team, takes 2 of 3 and it's an off day on Monday. So it is what it is. But we do have a couple of voicemails right now. We'll get to those in a second. What I wanted to complain about, I guess we'll say what I kind of want to bitch about. I was going to mention Lux again and I don't care. I don't care that much about the Lux thing. If you guys didn't see it, we talked about it on Friday. Then I kind of expanded on it a little bit on Saturday. Video's doing well, so I appreciate you guys watching it. A lot of people, I feel, kind of agree about Gavin Lux. It's time. It might be better for him to go to AAA. And what I was going to say is, hey, man, look at what it did. Look at what AAA did for James Outman. That was going to be my overreaction. James Outman is perfect. He is fixed. He has never been better in his life. Of course, that's a lie. But he is 3 for his first 5 coming back. I think he looks better. I think he looks more less lost That's the important thing. He looks less lost at the plate right now. But what I really wanted to talk about here, this is going to be my overreaction, and it's not even, an overreaction. It's just a reality. Dodger bench trash. Talked a lot about it on the channel in recent vintage. The bottom of the lineup is tough, and it's, to me, the Lux thing sort of sparked the spiral of, I want to know what these guys at AAA, some of these guys that are playing well in the minor leagues, trying to get the call up, what they can do at the big league level. And it's funny how many options the Dodgers have in AAA that could probably immediately be better on the bench, better than Austin Barnes, which is not that difficult, obviously, offensively. Better than Kike Hernandez. And by the way, if there's somebody I'm now completely out on this team, with Gavin Lux, at least with Lux, they could option him. They still hold team control. He has 2 more option years. He can stick around. Kike Hernandez, just, I don't get it. He's not doing anything exceptionally well, and I think with so many other dudes, bats being non-existent right now, that's is what I want to see for, that his roster spot. I want to see somebody like an Andre Lipsius, who we've talked about ad nauseum. Hunter Fiducia should be getting that spot over somebody like Austin Barnes, but both of those guys, if we're talking Kike, if we're talking Austin Barnes, those are Dave's guys. These are guys that have been here forever. You got to honor them because they've honored you or something. Hey, you know what? They didn't honor JT when it came time to pay him in the offseason for the 3rd time. I want to see what Ryan Ward can do at the big league level. He's an old-ass prospect at this point. 28 now, I think. Give the kid a chance here. See what he can do in the outfield, especially if you're going to start now having Miguel Vargas play a little bit of a little bit of third base. Easily distractible. See what he can do. Cody Hosey, again, I've talked about him. A former first-round draft pick by this team. Was bad for a long time. Has kind of pieced it together and is putting together a very nice season. A season that is worthy of at least a cup of coffee. See what he can do at the big league level. And I understand the 40-man roster crunch is very much a problem for this team, and this was something we talked about in the offseason. If anything, it's gotten worse. It has become worse because of all the added injuries. Guys on the 60-day IL that are going to need to soon enough be removed from the IL. Guys like Joe Kelly, Clayton Kershaw down the road. Hopefully someday in time, Max Muncy. It's working against these guys. This 40-man is working so much against dudes like Lipsius, so much against dudes like Hosey, but I still think they've earned it, and I still think if you're trying to win a championship, you're trying to not get embarrassed again. Maybe those guys, in the postseason, maybe those guys aren't going to be the difference makers. You shouldn't need to rely on Austin Barnes, or you shouldn't need to rely on Hunter Fiducia to win you a game in October. But I think it makes everybody else that much better. I think it makes the group of dudes on the active roster that much better. So that's what I want. That was my gripe. That's my overreaction. Just, it's funny that there are so many likely better options at AAA not getting a chance on this Dodgers bench. Pika Peep joined us in the chat. What is going on? Pika Peep saying Hosey's healthy this season. Number one reason he's doing well. Hurt his glove, is already major league ready at third base. Listen, I love I was one of those guys who I liked Cody Hosey before he was deserving of being liked. The first couple years in the minor leagues. If anything, I think I liked him a lot just because of the reports I was getting from my buddy Tim Rogers, of course, runs Dodgers 2080 here on YouTube. He was a big-time Hosey guy. He interviewed Hosey a couple of times at Single A Rancho. You would hoping he would figure it out. And sometimes it takes time. Sometimes it takes time. As I talked about last Friday. Richard Flores says Kike is as useless as an umbrella stand. Hey, umbrella stands, they have use. They have use. Dale Harris says you got to give Tyler Glasnow a small break or there will be no possible World Series. I wouldn't be opposed to a little bit of a break, but at the same time, the team doesn't have the bodies to cover him at the moment. Now, you wait another month, if this team, if they get Kershaw back, let's say somehow miraculously Dustin May is back and is built up to a starter's workload, and then also a trade deadline acquisition, maybe there's something there. Maybe there's a little bit of an opportunity to give him a week off. Just don't pick up a baseball for 3 days. Kind of ramp it up. Do it. Do it slow. That was the whole thing where the season started, and Walker Buehler was on the IL to open the season because they didn't want him to have to go through the entirety of the season or do a season and then shut it down like 3 months in and then ramp it back up. He wanted to do a full season, so I don't know how big leaguers feel about shutting it down. I know Kershaw was not a big fan of it in 20. Was it last year? It was last year when it happened, not 22. It was 23 when it happened. But then again, got worse there in that left shoulder of his. Let's listen to a few voicemails, guys. There's the button I got to get to for some Monday overreactions. Who do you guys want to hear first, Noah, or do you guys want to hear Richard? Because my stalwarts, my guaranteed guys that are gonna come through and leave us some thoughts, they came through. So let's go. Let's go to Noah first, just because I think he called first. So here's Noah for everybody's enjoyment.
What's up, guys? It's Noah, as you know. And, guys, we need a freaking ace if we want to win the World Series. We are World Series or bust, so I don't care if we overpay, we have to get an ace. And, come on, guys. What more does Gavin Lux have to do to not be in the lineup? His average has been going down insanely. The Dodgers just straight up are in a big toxic relationship. And, guys, I'm scared that Muncy is done for the season. I am scared. And that means that we have to get someone at the trade deadline or bring up Andre Lipsius. And way to go, Vargas. I got to hand it to him because I didn't think he would do much of an impact, and he has. And I'll take responsibility for it, guys. I did say that we would sweep the Brewers. Unfortunately, we did not. So that's on me. But other than that, though, guys, make sure you have a good night. Better than the Dodgers had on Sunday.
There we go. Noah Ortega calling in. One of our fine supporters on Patreon. Appreciate Noah. One of the good ones here. And, again, Gavin Lux. I like his idea, his thinking about this being, sort of a toxic relationship this team has been in for quite some time. I don't know that Muncy is done for the season, but maybe that's just me trying to be really, really, really positive. Maybe that's me trying to be really positive because, they said it was going to be a week to 10 days that he was out. We're now going to be pushing into 2 months. And no end in sight. Again, not swinging a bat. We will talk. We will talk in more Muncy in a second. We will talk injury updates and all of that kind of stuff in just a minute. But first, next, we got to hear from our friend, Richard Flores, Richie in Devore. He's got some thoughts. He's got some things to say here on this Monday.
Well, hello, Clint. Quoting the great Nora Ortega, this is Richard Flores, as you know. And the Dodger offense is really starting to frustrate the hell out of me. I'm more frustrated than Diane Schroeder getting upset at one of her clients because they can't pick that house in either 29 Palms or Indio. Hey, dude, just pick one in the middle of July. It's 120 no matter where you are in the low desert. But I digress. So the Dodger offense is like hot and cold running water. One day they look great, and then the next day they just totally suck. And I'm getting really sick of the inconsistency in the bottom half of the lineup. These guys have a golden opportunity to make a contribution, to show their worth, and maybe play for a contract with another team in Milwaukee or who knows. But alas, they're just pissing all over themselves, and while they're too busy changing their underwear and diapers in the clubhouse in between innings because they hit into another double play, we keep losing players. The uncertainty of Max Muncy. Personally, I don't think he's coming back. Yamamoto, I don't think he's coming back. And this Lux experiment, as much as I love Lux, and God bless him, and I know he's working hard, but at the end of the day, I think the Dodgers are doing them dirty. I don't think they're doing them any favors, and they keep running them out there. And every time we have a potential rally going, here comes Gavin to hit into a double play, and then we're done for the day. But what are you going to do? We just got to sit here and just take it because we really can't do much about it anyway. But, hey, that's why there's the voicemail hotline to bitch and moan about it. Well, that's all I got for today. So, F the Dodger Stadium parking lot. F the IL. F the Dodger dogs that are stuck and Farmer John doesn't exist anymore. And F the Ghost Runner. See ya.
Always appreciate our guy, Richie from DeVore, calling in, sharing his thoughts. I don't like back-to-back conversations or people feeling like this team will not get Max Muncy back, will not get Yoshinobu Yamamoto back. But I don't like it because that scares me. Like, if this team doesn't have those guys in October, it's monumental. It's not incremental. It's monumentally more difficult to see them winning a World Series. See them even making it to the World Series. Hopefully, we're going to talk Yamamoto in a second, but the Muncy thing has definitely got me more concerned. Carnivorous Lunar Activity, what's going on? Good to see you in the chat. Let's do everybody stop everything. Carney's in the chat. How you doing? Good to see you in here. Good conversation going on. I've seen that while the voicemail hotline was going off. Guys, if you want to call in, let me know. Check it out. Patreon.com/RealFRG. $5 a month. I did change some things on Patreon. Our fine, super awesome supporters who hang out on Discord with me, and we're all talking Dodger baseball. We're all getting to know each other. There's a good group of people there talking ball and living and dying with the highs and lows of each game. We have that going on in Discord. That's one of the things you can get through Patreon, through YouTube members. It's $5 a month, but I was going to say one of the things they were talking about, I think Diane was one of the people I saw talking about it. They wanted me to add different tiers, different levels. Maybe people want to pay more for $5 for some reason. I'm not asking anybody to do it, but if you want to, I added one like $20 thing, but there's going to be more that comes along with it. So anyways, check those out. Again, YouTube members, you can hit the join button. I think it's like right here, or you can check it out, patreon.com/realfrg. And if you don't want to, that's cool. Hit the subscribe button, and that also helps out the channel a whole bunch. Josh Gitt says next week to 10 days determines if Yamamoto comes back. If he starts throwing with no setbacks, there's a good chance he comes back. If not, he's probably done for the season. Well said. Fully agree with that thought, that take. I probably would have got there myself if we started on the injury section of the show. They seem not as worried about Yamamoto. However, anytime you got a shoulder injury, you should be worried. I think there's a lot of concern to that shoulder injury. So let's get into some Dodgers injury news and then eventually some trade rumors. And first, I want to focus in on the Max Muncy thing. To me, that's the big news. Max Muncy puts down the bat. Of course, a week ago, we were talking about Muntz swinging the bat in San Francisco, taking some hacks off the tee, taking some flips, worried that maybe that was a little early. Maybe if he still, was just like 2 days before talking about how, the side isn't feeling all that good and feeling it when he's, just really rotational is where he's at. You need to rotate when you're swinging, and he's got a very rotational swing, as most, good living hit. Give me good players, living players. Most good hitters are very rotational. Max is no exception. So this setback, now, I mean, to me, it kind of restarts the whole process. Let's say he's down another week, and let's say right after then, 7 days from now, next Monday, he takes batting practice. Why he would during the All-Star, during the Home Run Derby, I don't know, but I decided to do that, so we're all going to talk about it. Let's say next Sunday, there it is. On Sunday, he takes batting practice and he's feeling good, and then he comes back after the All-Star break. The team meets back up in LA to face the Red Sox. He's feeling good. He takes BP again. You start ramping up from there. Then all of a sudden, you're still looking at 3 weeks of rehab, another week of live hitting. He's got to face live pitching, I should say. He's got to go through a good amount of progression. There's a good amount of progression before we see Max Muncy back, and that's with no setbacks. Maybe 5-10, not 5-10, 4 to 6 minor league games, rehab games, no setbacks. He makes it back in a month, maybe a little bit less. But again, this is all everything being perfect, which at the moment it's not. And, this just kind of continues the thread of this team needs to be prepared to have a third baseman in October in the event that Max Muncy is not ready. And I think I saw somebody on the YouTube channel, somebody left a comment talking about their worry for Muncy. It might have been IB stroking. I'm not 100% sure, so I apologize for not remembering everything in life. I remember some things. I'm older now. It's hard to remember. Anyway, but they're talking about they don't feel confident in Muncy, and it feels like that's kind of the thread. A lot of people are feeling that right now. Not confident in Muncy being returned or being healthy enough to return, and then all of a sudden you don't have Max Muncy in October, and we've seen what happens when they don't have Muncy. We saw it in 2021. Granted, team's much better than they were in 2021 offensively. It was a very, very good team, but this is the team that has Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman. That team had, Trey Turner, Corey Seager, Mookie Betts. They had some bodies, but this one has some dudes. I really want to see Teoscar Hernandez. I really want to see Shohei Ohtani in the postseason, but I want to see a grown-up third baseman, a legitimate third baseman, somebody that has an offensive threat, somebody that if Max Muncy does return, maybe they can move around, play a little second, play wherever else is needed. We talked about this 3 weeks ago, I think, Kevin and I feel like that video still holds strong. The only difference is, obviously Alex Bregman was never really going to be an option, and now the Astros are kind of closer to being in the race again. So, again, I don't think he was really ever going to be somebody this front office is looking to get. But if you want to win, sometimes you got to go out and do some things that you're not a fan of. But, I guess, I don't know. I don't really know where to go with this. Is the team going to stay internal? We're talking now about Miguel Vargas taking some reps at third base, and there's a reason they took him off third base. It's because he's not good at it. He was never really a 3B. But if he could stop balls that are hit to him, that's cool. That would go a long way. And if he can keep hitting the way he is, had his first offer on Sunday, but if he keeps hitting the way he is, that would be nice. That would go a long way. Never really a true third baseman, but if he does his work, he eats his Wheaties and he does his work with Dino, maybe he could figure something out. We know it's not Kevin Biggio. We know it's not Kike Hernandez. Chris Taylor doing a little bit better. He's hitting, I think it was something like 278 since hitting his first home run, but then again, he started kind of falling off and struggling a little bit himself again. Perfectly good. CT3 to me, perfectly good for the bench. If he's starting at third base in October, I'm upset at this team. I'm very pissed at this team for not going out and getting a dude. They needed somebody that can be a difference maker. And we're going to talk about those guys in a little bit when we get into trade talk. We've already talked about them before a little bit. Really, really hope that maybe for once in his life, Colorado Rockies owner Dick Monfort is a moron, and he considers trading to the Dodgers, and we can get Ryan McMahon because the Dodgers need some help in the infield right now and beyond. And it'd be nice to add another All-Star just to piss off other fan bases that the Dodgers can't just always go out and get All-Stars. But again, we'll talk more deadline at the moment, but you worry. I worry, and it sounds like a lot more people are worried about Max Muncy. It feels like we're hitting right now, guys. Our thoughts, our feelings, we're hitting right now. Most of us, save for a few random defenders that just, like Dave Roberts told me on Dodgers territory last week, people who don't know all the information, who don't bother to research all the information. There are some Lux defenders out there, but let me see what he can do at AAA. Let me see if he can hit 300 again at AAA, 350 at AAA. Move him to shortstop again. Might as well. But anyways, we're hitting on that, and we're hitting on our fear of Max Muncy not returning. Got some conversation in the chat. Teoscar season 2024 in the chat. What's going on? Talking about Jazz Chisholm. I'm going to talk more trades in about 3 to 4 minutes. Short version, no. Reason, Miguel Rojas. They got beef, and Miggy Rowe is a guy. He's a dude here on this team in this clubhouse. Arcade Light Grid says Clint is the man. Thank you very much. Appreciate the love as always in the chat. What else have we got? People. Well, there's conversations going on in there, so we'll let you guys talk to one another. Stop hit balls is huge in this league. Stop. Thank you. Okay, I think we're talking about Miguel Vargas here. Peter Pandam in the flesh. Appreciate you hanging out with us, Pete. So stopping balls hit to you, it's huge in this league. If Miguel Vargas can do it, maybe he is a little bit of an option. Maybe he is that bridge that gets us to a healthy Muncy. I don't know. I doubt it. But anyways, enough Muncy talk. Let's talk about other updates from the injured list. Talked a little bit around Yoshinobu Yamamoto. The most recent, he's up to throwing plyo balls, little squishy boys. He could throw a baseball this week, could start picking up a baseball. And as Dave Roberts said, playing catch, having himself a little catch in the outfield. But I wouldn't be shocked if they just kick it down the road, kick it to after the All-Star break. Just keep him on plyos, keep him doing his work, his seeing the trainer, doing whatever he needs to do to free up that shoulder. And by the way, this hurts me like a motherfucker because I got a rotator cuff. I got potatoes, but I also got a rotator cuff thing. So I feel for Yama. That's what I'm saying. We're basically the same person, just $325 million of difference. So that's your Yamamoto news. I'll be positive. I'll be ready to be positive. I'll be ready to really think about it when the Dodgers get back to playing baseball. When we get that first Dave Roberts update next Friday, when the Dodgers are back home after the All-Star break, Red Sox come to town. Dave loves starting his series with the bulk, injury updates. That's what I want to see, and I want him to say, Yamamoto over the break threw a bullpen, or he tossed long toss or something like that. Threw his damn javelins, maybe. Ryan Brazier still kind of nowhere. Brusdar Graterol, Dave said Brazier I think is just like throwing. He's keeping his arm loose, but that calf is keeping him out for a very, very, very long time. Something that could have been, I don't know the words I'm looking for. Something that could have been avoided if they didn't sign him. I never really liked the Brazier signing. I guess I just wanted to get that out there internally. Brusdar Graterol, he's throwing off a mound. Could be trending towards a minor league rehab assignment in the next couple of weeks. Probably the next step is him throwing to hitters, but Bazooka would be a nice addition to this bullpen. You got a couple of guys in there that probably don't belong. We're seeing some guys get exposed a little bit. Not too much, but just getting overworked. One guy I will say I'm worried about, and I think we all are, Ryan Yarbrough. And I would not be shocked to see him packaged in some sort of deal at the All-Star or at the trade deadline, just because, let's be fair, being bluntly realistic, there's not a chance in hell Ryan Yarbrough has a spot on the Dodgers postseason pitching staff on the active roster. There are going to be other options. There are going to be better options. And if not, there's going to be hopefully somebody like Kyle Hurt comes back, who I haven't seen I know he walked off the field. I did not see if there was a Kyle Hurt update. So if anybody has a Kyle Hurt update, you let me know in the comments below. Do worry about Kyle Hurt because he was one of those guys I was really rooting for. I was really hoping could plug in when somebody like Joe Kelly inevitably got hurt, when somebody else, maybe Bazooka got hurt, Brazier or whatever. It was going to be Kyle Hurt. This is going to be the year of the Kyle Hurt show. But instead, he's been hurt, and that blows. So those are the words I'm doing there. Really, I'm not very excited about the injury updates right now, just because it's all a lot of the same Dave talk. It's a lot of just coded updates. He's throwing the ball, he's moving the arm, he's keeping the arm loose. I want to see guys doing things like Clayton Kershaw over the weekend through 3-inning simulated game, came out of it reportedly decent. Well, I guess we haven't heard how he come out of it yet, but he's they said the most recent from Clayton is that he feels better after he was throwing. He did the minor league rehab game, kind of felt a little injured. Or a little soreness, shut it down. He said he feels better now than he did that first time through, even though he just had like the whatever it was, week layoff of throwing a baseball. I feel good. I trust Kershaw a little bit more than I trust other people. 17 years of being together here, that'll do that to you. So Dave seems positive. He seems optimistic about Kersh. Maybe we get a Clayton Kershaw back in 1 month's time. That's gonna be my bold prediction. What is today? Today is the 8th of July. I'm gonna say we get him back the first full week of August. That's what I've decided we're gonna do. I'm put it out there. I'm putting it into the ethos. Clayton Kershaw makes his season debut the first full week of August. Because why not? Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Serious Drama laughs at me. Hey, I didn't say I trusted him in the postseason. I definitely don't trust Clayton Kershaw in the postseason if Don Mattingly is the manager, or if Dave Roberts puts him in relief. So we'll appreciate. Let's do in your face, sucker. Appreciate that kind of interaction here. Another guy, quickly, last one. Dustin May throwing a baseball, throwing off a mound at CBR. I feel like nobody's talking about Dustin. I feel like y'all forgot about May. Feels to me like he's somebody who could slide into that rotation if need to. Could slide into that bullpen, just be a lockdown 2-inning or 2-pitch, maybe multi-inning guy at the back end of the bullpen. We've seen those type of dudes work in the postseason. Really hope this team can get May back. Really hope he can be healthy. Really hope he doesn't get hurt immediately again. And I really hope they just leave him in the bullpen, because it's kind of clear Dustin May's body can't handle a starter's workload. I'd love to be proven wrong. 1,000% would love to be proven wrong, but as of right now, it's not. I'm not overly optimistic in a long-term career as a starter. Juice Nero says, can we all agree Walker Buehler will not be a Dodger in 2025? I'm like 89% agree. Let's make it 93% agree. Now, if he's bad enough to where, he doesn't. I guess we should talk about Buehler. I mentioned it already before last week, but he's just throwing with some random people. The Dodgers didn't say who he's throwing with, but he's working with Dodgers approved but not Dodgers internal pitching coaches. So do with that what you will. But he's one of those guys, man. Buehler, him not finding it, that's really put this team in a tough spot, because he should have been the guy to kind of pick up the pieces when Yamamoto went down. But both of them going down at the same time, that's tough. That's tough. Anyway, N-Rock says DFA Biggio, and I love that. I love that idea. Remember when they were playing Kevin Biggio, and we haven't seen him in a while? That's nice. I appreciate that. Not a big fan. Breaking update here, by the way, because we usually talk a lot about Andre Lipsius. I got an update. I don't know if I can reveal who it's from, so I'll just call it sources. But sources tell me that someone who's watched pretty much every Oklahoma City game and knows baseball very well said Lipsius's defense is even worse than the bad fielding percentages would suggest. So, I mean, we kind of assumed. But appreciate the update from sources. I don't want to give out names just to be fair and reasonable, but that is coming through the text hotline, which is just, if you have my phone number, you can text me. Still want to see him on the bench. I still want to see a quality at bat. Teach him how to catch. Teach him how to Dougie. Have him work with Dino Ebel at third base. Maybe. You do worry about it, though. All right, let's do a little bit of trade rumor stuff. It's not going to be too crazy deep dive because I do want to talk to some friends of the show this week about more trade deadline. So maybe that is tomorrow. Maybe it's Friday. Stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button so you know when we're talking trade deadline and potential trade chips for this team. But if we're really honing in on the needs for this team, you wonder, is it starting pitching? Maybe. We talked a little bit about that. We talked a lot about that right now. Maybe they need some starting pitching. I think one pitcher would not hurt. I don't think just any pitcher is what this team needs, though. Like, they need to be operating at the top of the market when it comes to starting pitching. They don't need just an innings eater because they can get by on the innings. We've talked about it a bunch of times. We don't need to see this team go out and win 100 games. They don't need to win 110 games. They don't need to win 95 games. Just make it to the dance. I don't care how you do it, but you need to have 3 dudes who are absolute dogs at the top of your rotation that you can put out against anybody in a first round, in a game 1, in the second round, whatever it may be, in an elimination game. You need to have these guys that are ready to go. And maybe Glasnow's that guy, but I don't know how many of these dudes the Dodgers are going to go after, because there's going to be a lot of teams that are really in on somebody like a Tarik Skubal, somebody like Garrett Crochet. And we'll note these guys also have kind of their issues. Backpedaling a little bit here, Bob Nightingale, he put out an article in the USA Today recently saying that MLB GMs and executives, people that he's talked to, say that the Dodgers are going to be among the most aggressive teams at the deadline. And you don't need to be an insider to know that. You just got to watch the team, and you got to know Andrew Friedman a little bit. I think we all were probably on that same page that this team was going to be very, very active at the trade deadline. This is not going to be like the 20 Dodgers who their trade deadline was just trading away Ross Stripling. It's not going to be like the 2021, 2022 offseason Dodgers or was it 22, 23 who let a bunch of dudes go. It's off season though. They're going to be working. They're going to be putting in some hump and hustle. Hey, 23, they didn't do very good at that deadline at all, by the way. Let's talk about that. Let's not talk about that. Let's just remind ourselves that we as fans walked away with Lance Lynn, and that is an effing problem. But Dodgers need to operate at the top of the market. They kind of need to operate in the middle of the market. There's a lot of bad teams in baseball right now. A lot of really bad teams in baseball, and they got options. They got some names, but I don't know how many of these teams really have the high upside guys. There's maybe 5 max guaranteed high upside guys out there. But like I said, you need a high upside pitcher, starting pitcher. You need an infielder with upside, somebody that either can play, shortstop, and Miguel Rojas moves to third base, whether that's a Bo Bichette. I don't know. Again, that's not somebody with... There's high upside with Bo Bichette. I think he's very much a change of scenery guy. I don't think a lot of fans would be exceptionally excited with Bo Bichette. He's not a great... what am I looking for? Sorry, I got distracted by a message on the chat here. So... He's not the best. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know what I'm going for. Oh, that's right. Bichette. He's not the best defender at shortstop. Thank you for helping me get there. Kenny Chung says not the best talent. Fair. But if you get a shortstop, Miguel Rojas can play third. I don't like that, but it is an option. Of course, you get a third baseman. Mookie can go to second base. We all got to feel in our soul that there's not a damn chance that Gavin Lux is the starting second baseman for this team come October, unless he goes to AAA and figures some things out. Bring it back. So if you're doing that, you know, Mookie's at second, Miguel Rojas is at shortstop. You feel pretty good. Maybe they need an outfielder. I don't think they need an outfielder as much anymore, just because there isn't a high upside guy. I'm not in on Luis Robert anymore. Randy Arozarena, we're back to it. I'm seeing Los Doyers saying trade for Randy Arozarena. Problem with Tampa, they're 5.5 games. 5.5 games behind or out of a wild card spot. They like playing, even if they have, you know, 4 teams ahead of them in the AL Central, in the AL East. They love being in the postseason, even though they're probably not going to win it. It would probably be very smart of them to trade from an area where they have a little bit of, I don't know if they have an excess or whatever, but they have somebody that is desirable, and that is Randy Arozarena. I'd love to have Randy Wood. I've talked about this a whole bunch. Get me Randy Arozarena in left field, and I think you feel really damn good. How much do we believe in James Outman, by the way? Jury is still out. Looks good. Looks good in his first few games. 3 for 5. But if Jimmy Outman is your starting center fielder, and you know, I don't know. I don't know how they kind of work it out. Like how do we feel about Outman? How do we feel about Pages in the outfield? If it's one of those guys, cool. If it's both of them, Dodgers absolutely messed up at the trade deadline. You know, if Chris Taylor's getting reps out there, we know Teo's going to be in there. Teoscar Hernandez is going to be in there. Hey, let's go back and do that one little sneaky idea of, you can hear this guy Shohei Ohtani. He said maybe by September he can play some left field. I think the Dodgers also very, very messed up if Shohei's playing left field. But could be fun. What it opens up at DH, I don't know. Doesn't really open up very much because your best hitter is your DH is Shohei Ohtani. I don't know, just talking in circles with that. But anyways, all right, let's look at the for sure sellers. We know Chicago White Sox are for sure sellers. We know the Miami Marlins for sure sellers. We know the Oakland Athletics are for sure selling. The likely guys, you got Colorado, you got Anaheim, you got Toronto, you got Detroit. Couple of guys in some of those teams, this is where you really, really want those teams to crater. Thank you, Mike Carrillo, saying Tigers are going to sell. I said likely. They're 7.5 games out of the wild card entering play today. I significantly doubt they think they're in it. I think they still need to. They still need a lot of rebuilding. They still need a lot of pieces, and somebody like a Jack Flaherty right now would help them a lot. Somebody like Tarik Skubal, who is the thumbnail of this video, at least at the moment. That's somebody who could net you a small fortune in prospects. So that's something big. Another one, before we dive into those guys, is I have a little handful of dudes, phrasing? I have a handful of players that I want to kind of dive into, but the possibly. So we got our likely sellers, we got our for sure sellers, and we have the possibly sellers. That's the Texas Rangers. Another 7.5 game, behind the wild card spot team. They have no pitching, but they have pitching coming back. Jacob deGrom coming back at some point. Max Scherzer back. He's healthy. If they get one more pitcher in a deal for somebody like a Josh Smith, who is a guy we've talked about, goes a long way. Or what Showtime LA is saying there, deGrom with the eyes. Maybe they boot it. Maybe they sell. Maybe they trade away somebody like a Jacob deGrom. Maybe they trade away somebody like a Nate Eovaldi. Bring him back home. I'll tell you, if there's one team I'm rooting for to tank, to win 0 baseball games from now until the 30th of July, it's the Texas Rangers, because that team has so much talent that would fit in beautifully with this Dodgers team. Cubs, they're 5.5 games back. I don't like any of the Cubs. I really don't. I don't care for a single one of the Cubs. I know my guy, producer Kevin, he's high on Ian Happ. Not my style. I don't think that's a big, massive addition to this team. I don't think it's what they need. It would be a good addition, for sure, undoubtedly. He's a good player, as Mike Carrillo says in here. Kenny Chung's no on Happ. BC says no Cubs. The user me says trade for Michael Bush. See what you did there. I don't like any of the Cubs. That's me personally. In Washington, we'll say Washington real quick. They're 5 games back of a wild card somehow. The only name there is C.J. Abrams, and C.J. Abrams is not going to be available. Joe Mama says pass on Cubs. Thank you. I don't like a single one of the Cubs. Jameson Taillon, probably their most acquirable starting pitcher, but he hasn't, he's been okay. He's been good. He hasn't been good in his career. He hasn't been great in his career, but he doesn't give, he's not giving postseason starter. That's what I'm trying to look for. Then again, you can say somebody like Tyler Anderson wasn't giving postseason starter in 2022, and he did a pretty damn good job of it in his lone start, the start where he was taken out too early. See my guy Jeff in the chat, Locked On Dodgers. Guys, make sure you make Locked On Dodgers your second listen every morning. Listen to my show first, or do it the other way around, whatever you want. But appreciate you hanging out with us. Jeff says might as well get DeGrom and let his annual 6 healthy starts be for the Dodgers in October. I mean, how many times has this team been linked to Jake DeGrom over the years? If he could be healthy, if he could be that guy that we knew back in the day, the 2015 Jake DeGrom, the 2018 dominance, whenever he was the most dominant, the Cy Young Award, Jacob DeGrom, this is a frightening baseball club. And if you get Yoshinobu Yamamoto back, that's a lot of fun. But he's owed a lot of money. He still has, 3 years left on his deal, I think, after this year. And he can't stay healthy for the life of him. So, hey, maybe he is a Dodger. Maybe he's meant to be a Dodger because, that whole can't stay healthy thing. So I highlighted a few names here. And, of course, we got to talk about the Garrett Crochet thing because I think everybody's looking at Crochet. We talked earlier on the All Dodgers Discord server talking about, Tommy Pham. If they did add Pham, where would Pham fit in? Say that 3 times fast. Pham fits in. Somebody who can play a little bit left, play some bench for you as well. Be on the bench. For me, he is a massive upgrade over Kike Hernandez, and I don't care about Kike and his ability to play everywhere. I don't care about how he wore a banana 10 years ago. He's not playing well. They signed him to an only $4 million deal. Give him a chance elsewhere. Maybe he wants to go play full-time elsewhere. Maybe he's annoyed at his playing time here. I don't think he's the best fit for this roster as it is. Give me I can't field the baseball Andre Lipskis with a bat before giving more Kike Hernandez plate appearances, before giving him more plate appearances. I'm out. I'm so sour on Kike Hernandez on this roster. Oh, he dances and he does the little face like that. That's not a fucking role that wins you baseball games. Kike Hernandez rant over. But this Pham, of course, there's Luis Robert, who seems to, I think, has lost a lot of luster amongst Dodgers fans of late in recent vintage. One, he's going to, the White Sox are going to demand, a buttload of prospects for this dude who can't stay healthy. Another Dodger material. Can't stay healthy and isn't doing that good this year. He's hitting under, 220 or something like that. Less. I haven't looked at his stats most recently. I'm out on Lubob. Tommy Pham, I like him, but he's on a bench. They have another guy, Eric Fetty, we're going to see LinkedIn rumors, but if this team goes out, this Dodgers organization goes out and trades for Eric Fetty, who was forced to pitch in Korea last season because his career has been such a flame out, the Dodgers messed up bad. It's a bad trade deadline if they end up with Eric Fetty. So, with all that said, as nice as Garrett Crochet is, I don't know that the White Sox, as open as sellers they're going to be, I don't know that they're the most perfect seller, club to sell with the Dodgers or work with the Dodgers. They're not selling to the Dodgers just because those guys, they don't do it for me. They don't wiggle my pickle, if you know what I mean. Which is probably a good thing. I don't know. Depends on what you like. Darkness says we need a dog at the bottom of the lineup. 100%. You know a guy who would be a dog at the bottom of the lineup, could also hit anywhere? Get me Dick Montfort on the phone. Let me talk to the Colorado Rockies owner. Get me Ryan McMahon in Dodger Blue tomorrow. Get me him yesterday. Add that all-star that other teams' fan bases are going to be so livid about the Dodgers adding another all-star. But Ryan McMahon is an elite defender at third base. He's a plus-plus defender at second base. 2 spots his team needs help currently. Come on. Give me my man. Give me Ryan McMahon. Scott Gearman in the chat. What's going on, Scotty? He wants, Jack Flaherty, as we talked about last week on the channel. Nate Eovaldi, loves seeing the Eovaldi in there. I just said a few minutes ago. My guy Scott, I just said it. You get me 10, 15 losses over the next 3 weeks for the Texas Rangers. Just gift it to us. Let the Rangers get so far out of the race that they sell. Because you get me Josh Smith, you get me Nate Eovaldi. I'm getting you a World Series championship, Los Angeles. I'm doing it. That's what I do. I have that kind of power. The user me says Brent Rooker. Rooker's another one of those guys having a nice year. I think he's 18 home runs at the moment, playing some left field. That still doesn't do enough for me on the infield. Like, if we're talking about a premium bat, I really, really hope it is a third baseman. It's an infield option because they can move other bits and pieces to the outfield if they really, really need to. But right now, with the Max Muncy situation, we don't know when Max comes back, if he comes back. I think this team needs an infielder more than an outfielder. They need an outfielder as well, but I think they need an infielder more so. But yeah, let's focus in again. I'm going to keep talking about the Rangers. I'm going to keep harping on the Rangers. Josh Smith, Nate Eovaldi, that's what I'm rooting for. The Rangers to go to absolute shit. And the other biggest trade partner, if we're talking frontline pitching options, it's Detroit. 7.5 games back. I said they're likely sellers. They're just about guaranteed sellers. Tarik Skubal, it is said that he can be got. Jim Bowden reported recently that the Tigers they don't want to move him, but there's a chance they could be overwhelmed prospect-wise from a team like the Dodgers, because the Dodgers have a bunch of dudes. And we've already seen some of these, these fake, what am I looking for? Every year, I mean, it's throughout the year, really, but every trade deadline and every offseason, Bleacher Report posts these things where some dude is in a room just making up bullshit trade articles. And I think they put one out today talking about God knows what. I forgot what the deal was. Somebody in the chat will remind me what the deal was. It might have been Skubal. It might have been Crochet. I think it was Crochet. But the players, it was Josue de Paula, it was Jair Hope, and there was one more body in there whose name is I think it was Wrobleski. I'm fine with that. Give me that in a heartbeat. Add in Landon Knack. That's fine. The Dodgers have so much talent. They have so much more talent coming up that isn't even on the 30 yet, the top 30 prospects list right now. They will be fine. And Shohei Ohtani comes back to the starting rotation next year. Maybe they go out and sign Roki Sasaki. You could binge and purge a few of these guys if it's an injured Nick Frasso that another team wants. One of the things me and Scott Gearman have been talking about, me and Kevin were talking about a lot this past week or last week. So a lot of these dudes, all these names we're talking about, outside of Wrobleski, outside of Hope, dudes are old. They are old for prospects, old for AAA. They're kind of aging out. Cole brings up Max Fried, also going to be a free agent. Would look nice in Dodger blue. But that's the future. That's off-season type talk. Tarik Skubal, I see. Where'd you go? There we go. Jeff, Locked On Dodgers, saying every Bowden article should be titled, "This is why 2 teams fired me" as their GM. And I do miss reading you giving that in every one of your old site articles, the place that we were employed at one point, because it was always fun to read the distaste for Jim Bowden. But I appreciate you writing them for me. Again, talked about it already a little bit earlier. Tarik Skubal, that's somebody that our boy producer Kevin's way in on. And, Jimmy Bowden, who knows nothing. He knows maybe a hair more than most of you guys do or me do in the chat. He said the Tigers could be open. He could be overwhelmed in a move. Of course, everybody can be overwhelmed. The Dodgers want They want it, they got it. They're Ariana Grande. You know, they can go out, they got the money, they got the prospects, they're going to get what they want. But this front office doesn't do that. Andrew Friedman has vocalized that. Time and time again, they won't play to the market. They'll let the market come to them, and if not, they'll punt and, you know, work with what they have internally. And we saw that last year. It didn't work. And other teams, I think, are getting tired of working with the Dodgers because a lot of the times those deals kind of don't work out for them. Nick Nastrini, ring a bell. Apologies to Blake Williams, courtesy. You know, if you can pass that along for me, Scott, thank you. He hasn't done anything for the White Sox at this point. Mitchell White, anybody? Matt Beatty, anybody? Just saying. But there are some names. Who they're going to get, I don't know. We're not at that point right now. Who I want, you know, I saw somebody talking about, you know, Anaheim, talking about Luis Rengifo, longtime former Dodger. That would be nice. I think he's played a pretty nice third base. I think we've seen him play some second base. I don't know if Artie is over the butt hurt of not getting that deal done back in 2020 to work with the Dodgers again. If they're going to do that, though, let's talk Tyler Anderson. Do people want Tyler Anderson back? Does that guy move the needle enough for you this year as somebody that could, in a worst-case scenario, be your number 2, number 3 starter in a postseason? To me, TA does not. As good as that start was, it was a flash in the pan. As good as that start was in 2022, it was a flash in the pan kind of start. Maybe there's more flash. Maybe there is. Anaheim way out of it, though. So I don't know why I put them under likely. They're guaranteed sellers. 15 games back at the moment, I think. So TA and Rengifo, that's nice. That helps your club. I don't know that it's championship-like help. We've also talked, you know, a lot on the channel. Toronto, Justin Turner. Talked about JT on this channel 3-4 weeks ago. Even up to today, Alana Rizzo and I talked about JT a little bit. I think he's a nice fit. Championship fit, though? Is this something where we're left feeling 3 months from now, sometime just, you know, in the middle of October, if all of us are left feeling again like we did last year, where they didn't go out, they didn't do enough, they didn't make enough moves. They tried. Sure, they tried with, was it Eduardo Rodriguez? He said, nah, I don't want to go to the East Coast or the West Coast, and then he signed with the West Coast team, and he sucks. So eat a dick, Eddie. Respectfully. I want to know that we can't have that again. That's the point. Just can't have the repeat of Lance Lynn. And I think there are Lance Lynn type options out there. Like Tyler Anderson, maybe that's a Lance Lynn type of dude. Brent Rooker. You know, we talked Rooker. I don't know that that's enough, and I don't know if it fits like a major need for this team because we also know how this front office is. They love guys like Jason Hayward. He's not getting off the roster. CT3 needs a place to play. And we could be left frustrated again with their decisions to, let's go back to my overreaction from half hour ago. Decision to run with the guys that are on this bench because, we like the numbers on the back of the card. They've been there. They've got us there before. 2020 was a long time ago, Dave. CT3 hasn't done very much. He had a nice season in 21. Got him a lot of money. Pika Peep says Rooker doesn't fit with the Dodgers. Fully agree. Another one of those names we could throw out there. I know I just kind of bailed on whatever thought I was on. Jesus Luzardo, he is currently injured, but according to Bob Nightingale, teams are still inquiring. Miami, they got some dudes. They're not good dudes. Jazz Chisholm, we talked a little bit about Chisholm. I don't want Jazz Chisholm on this team. I don't think he's a difference maker type of bat. Now, if you're talking about Jazz over Gavin Lux, heartbeat. We're talking about Jazz over Kike Hernandez in a bench role, heartbeat, but that's not a reality. And they're going to need to pay a lot. They're going to need to pay a lot for these dudes. Scott Gearman says, get Nate Eovaldi and Randy Arozarena. I cannonball into my pool in my Dodger blue shirt. What we got to do? How about this one? Cody's in the chat. Cody Snavely. By the way, guys, check out our friends over at Bleed Los. Cody is in Philly this week. Saw that. I think I gave it a retweet, but Cody Snavely will be getting you Canelo on the Bleed Los podcast. We'll be getting you, all the interviews in Philly in what is supposed to be a very, very big season or big series. Sorry, getting myself distracted. I was talking about something, then I got distracted. Oh yeah, Scott, what you got to do is one of the buddies I have over at Foul Territory, a producer there. He also runs a great Yankees podcast. Kind of just went viral for it. Dude said if I think it was the rookie first baseman who came up right now who hit the home run. He said if this guy hits a home run right now, I'm going to shave my head. And he shaved his head live on stream. What you got to do, what you got to promise us, Scott, if they can go out there and get us Nate Eovaldi, get Randy Arozarena, hell, let's throw in, just for me, Josh Smith. Just for me. You don't got to shave your head. It's a beautiful lock of hair. We're not going to ruin Scott Gearman's hair, guys. I promise you that. But you got to take the laptop out with you while doing a show with Blake or Jeff or whoever. And, you got to like, it's like, I don't know, dive into the pool. You got to give us the most epic cannonball. Put a computer condom on, of course. Can't damage the goods. You got to give us the most epic cannonball. I mean, you could probably do better, but cut off a foot if it happens. I don't know. But appreciate you guys hanging out with us so far. This is more exciting. This is a more exciting trade deadline than I thought it was going to be, guys. Like, when we looked at all the moves this team made in the offseason, I was like, that's a pretty complete roster. The biggest question mark for me, and I think a lot of people, Scott, I believe you were involved in this as well, was Alex Vesia. Vesia shut us all up. He has another half of a season to continue proving he can shut us all up. But, I didn't expect the team to have these Dodgers to have as many needs at this point. But they do. They have needs. They need a starter. They need one more bat, wherever that is. Talk to Joe Davis. I don't think I mentioned that. We talked to Joe Davis today on Dodgers Territory. Check it out. If you guys have not, hit the thumbs up button over there. I'd appreciate it. But he mentioned that as well. This is a team that needs a bat. It needs a pretty massive bat at this point. Wherever it goes, if it's middle in the lineup or bottom of the lineup, which is where Alana set it up. He's like, I don't know. I think they need a middle of the order bat. Wherever that is, whatever that ends up being. I don't know if that guy is out there. But if you can get somebody like a Ryan McMahon, I'd feel real effing good. It's not going to happen. It's not in reality. Tommy Pham, I'd feel better about the bench. Anything that gets me Kike Hernandez off the roster, I'm good with. Luis Rengifo, I think, makes a lot of sense for this team. Josh Smith makes a lot of sense for this team. But where this team is really going to make the biggest splashes, it feels like where it can make the biggest splashes is in starting pitching. Steven Chavez talking about Trevor Bauer. Bauer's he's not coming back to the big leagues, at least this year at this point. Dodgers aren't going to reignite that whole situation as well. Usually I don't like talking about Trevor Bauer just because it elicits ugly feelings here on the internet, but the reality is this is a dude who hasn't pitched hasn't faced major league hitters since the middle of 2021. And has been facing people in Korea and people in Mexico, worrying too much about his vlog and all of this. It's not going to be Bauer. And even if it was Bauer, we're talking about a month probably. It would be a minor league deal. Let's see how people react, but it's not happening. There's no reason to even, explore it because it's not happening. Might not happen in Major League Baseball. Definitely not happening with these Los Angeles Dodgers. Final thing is I'll end this with Scott ending this. He says, my view now is to mitigate the loss of Muncy. They need to get a mid-order guy, someone with a baseline that could be impactful. Now, is that JT? Is that a Bo Bichette? Is it Luis Rengifo? Is it Ryan McMahon? Is it Ian Happ? Is it Josh Smith? There are some options, but we need more teams to crater. That's the big thing. We need teams to crater over the next 2 weeks. And then it'll be will very much bode well for your Dodgers. Something that bodes well for the channel. It's a $1.99 super chat from our friend Noah Ortega. Thank you for hanging out with us, Noah, and jumping in, even though you're not really able to listen or type. You're listening, but you can't watch the show or type on the show. You know how it goes. But it says, you and Scott take a shot live if Lux gets traded. Let me know if you're in on that, Scott. I mean, I'll do it either way. I'll take a shot, and I will drink X amount of shots each day until they trade Lux. Is that a thing? I don't know. Mike Carrillo, love this one. Says you could help teams crater by sweeping the Tigers. I had the Tigers in on that. Where did I put them in? The likely traders. 7.5 games back right now. They need it. Ivy Strokin is here. It says, peace out in advance, Dodgers fan. We're not done yet. Let's talk quickly about that Phillies series because, it's what I do. We do our shows. We talk about the series ahead, and it is the Phillies. It is the big showcase, I guess. People they got more excited about Dodgers Yankees, as you should. It is Dodgers. It is Yankees. It is exciting. But the Phillies are the best team in the National League. They have the best starting rotation, arguably at the top of their rotation for sure, with guys like Ranger Suarez, with guys like Aaron Nola, with guys like Zach Wheeler. They have an MVP, front-runner candidate coming back from injury with Bryce Harper. They also have guys that are kind of in the same boat as the Dodgers, and we talked about this on DT earlier. They are as pissed, or they have every right to be as pissed as the Dodgers are, because they had this wonderful postseason run a couple of years ago. Things kind of came apart. They were supposed to run it back, and they didn't get that opportunity. It happened with the Dodgers. It happened with the Braves as well last year. Didn't get that opportunity to run it back the way they thought they would last year. So you get Philly back, you get Philly healthy, you get them all those dudes in the postseason. Those guys. Kenny Chung talking about Craig Crumble. Man, what teams go into the postseason or have a season with Craig Kimbrell as their closer? Not me. Couldn't be this guy. But storylines. Let's talk quickly. Storylines for this Philly series. It's going to be a big one, man. You got to see what these Dodgers are made out of. And yeah, this is nowhere near 100% version of the Dodgers. You're missing Mookie Betts. You're missing Yoshinobu Yamamoto. You're missing Max Muncy. Two heart of the lineup type of bats. Not even heart of the lineup. Obviously, one's a leadoff, but two very important run producers. And arguably your number 2 starter, maybe your number 1 starter, depending on how he's looking that day. You don't have him. It's not going to be quite what you'd expect in October. It's not going to quite match up. But it is a postseason preview. That's what it is. It's one of the storylines. We're going to hear about it. It sucks that it is, a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, days before the All-Star break. Doesn't have quite the same punch. These teams do meet up again I think in September at Dodger Stadium. So there is another opportunity for everybody to get healthy and us get that postseason preview. But then that's like so close to the postseason. I don't want to be, tipping our hand too much. But for now, what I'm looking for in this series is I am really watching Dodgers starting pitching. Can Gavin Stone handle the best team in a hostile environment? We saw it in New York. We liked what we saw in New York. He needs to back it up in Philly. And Philly, that gets arguably worse than New York does. Arguably. So you got hostile. You got big-time team. The only thing that's different is, you're pitching Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday instead of a weekend series, which could happen in the postseason. I don't know. I guess maybe not. They kind of still play weekday series. Tangent over on that. I got to see what Gavin Stone can do. We also got to see if he can live up to the name, Big Game Bob. You guys remember this kid, Bobby Miller? Haven't seen Robert Miller around since he's come back from injury. Yeah, he's been out there on the mound. But Bob, where you be? Need to see him. This is start number 4 coming back from that shoulder injury. He said the first couple of them was kind of felt like spring training to him. Just fine. That's fine. He still ramps up. Should be ramped up now. He should be ready to give it his all for 4 or 5 innings. He doesn't need to throw 95 to 100 pitches. I don't think anybody's expecting that out of him. But Bobby leads this series off. He opens this series against Zach Wheeler, so he's got himself a mission there because Wheeler is a beast. And Bobby's got to prove, like, hey, don't forget about me. Maybe I'm a postseason starting option. Maybe they don't need to go out and spend prospects on Tarik Skubal or Garrett Crochet or Jack Flaherty or Nate. Well, give me Nate Eovaldi either way, please. Thank you. Andrew, you got me. Thank you. I gotta see if Bobby's there. If he's the real deal. If not, I'm very, very worried. Very, very worried about Bob. Stoner gets game 2. He goes up against a fella called Christopher Sanchez. Bit of a breakout year for him. Admittedly, I don't know who he is. I don't pay that much attention to the Phillies. I really don't. And I mean, if they faced him at some point, cool. If they did, I don't remember. I don't need to do this for a living anymore, so I don't need to know everything about every single team. But he's a lefty, and the Dodgers have crushed lefties this season. I'm worried about them against the production against right-handers. I will say that. I will bring that back up again. But they've crushed lefties. Scotty's given Bobby Ice, as Dave Vassay calls him, a couple more starts. No, that's fair. I'm not saying like this one start is the make or break for him, but it is something I'm very concerned about, or I can be very concerned about. His future, and this is his future this year, his immediate future this year. Like, we got to see the best from him or something close. I don't need him for a long time. I need him for a good time, for a short time. Get the top of the lineup out twice, and then we'll feel pretty positive. That's why I just need to see something. Let me see something from Bobby Miller. Anyways, Cole bringing down the mood, saying that they're facing a lefty. That means Kike Hernandez is playing, and that's unfortunate. Anyways, TBD goes on Thursday. Everybody's favorite Dodger pitcher, TBD, could be Landon Knack, I think. I don't think it'll be another call-up or anything like that. I don't think it'll be a bullpen game. Probably Knackers. And then he faces whoever it's going to be there, Aaron Nola. So, Dodgers going to face some good pitching, and Dodgers pitching going to face some good batters. So, my final not-so-hot take before we get out of here, guys, could be a good series, could also get embarrassed. There's your little punch to the end of it. So, drop some predictions, guys, before we get out of here. Somehow talking here by myself with a strained throat, as I usually do, strained voice. Made it to like an hour and 25 here. We're having a good time. Hopefully you guys are. Need a little sippy sip. But yeah, drop some predictions. I know Noah isn't in here, so I don't know if he can give us a another sweep. But Dodgers win at least one game. I'm not going to say if it's one. Kenny's saying one win. Maybe it's two. They win a game. Do they win 2 games? Could be. I don't think they sweep. I don't feel a sweep. Joe Mama says Dodgers win 2. Craig's got a sweep. We appreciate the positive. Oh, that's a good point. Cole bringing up Teoscar Hernandez crushes lefties. Yes, but when I'm hearing him these days, hearing Hernandez these days, I'm immediately going to the worst. Scott's got Dodgers taking 2 of 3 from Philly. Noah Ortega's got 2 wins on there, so we don't have a sweep. Danielle Finn saying 1 and 2. So I'm assuming, was that Dodgers lose a series or Dodgers win 1 and Phillies? I'm guessing that is a lose a series. I'm reading it that way, Danielle. Let me know if you mean otherwise. But that would fall in line with what myself and Kenny said. Guaranteed 1 win. I'll give you 1 win. Denny Cortez in the chat. Thank you for hanging out with us as always. Denny says Dodgers take 2 in that series. Listen, if you can come out of a series, back-to-back series against division leaders, you want that out of this team, especially a team that doesn't have Mookie Betts, Max Muncy, and Gavin Lux still exists at the major league level. That's what you want to see. You want them to take this series. Kenny says the people are optimists. Listen, you got to be optimists. You got to be, I think, what do they call it now? The kids call it glazing. There's a lot of glazers online. A lot of glazers on the Twitter. People that post things just for internet clout, internet followers. All glaze, no reality. Not here. Give you the real deal. You might lose a game. You might lose 2 games. You might lose them all. I don't know where I was going with that. I got my own internal battles, guys. That's what I'm saying. We got our own deals, our own demons we're dealing with. Danielle confirms. The call stands. Dodgers lose, so they win 1 game in the series there. Hopefully, darkness. We'll leave with this one. Before we leave with this one, I will note we will be back on Thursday. I believe the plan is myself, producer Kevin, post-gaming here on Thursday. So make sure you tube in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you know when we do go live. We're going to start trying a thing that's going to be a little bit different from every other post-game show, because I don't like stepping on. I'm not like other big channels that'll step on other people's feet. I try to leave paths. I feel try to leave paths for one another. But everybody wants to talk post-game. We're going to do that. I'm going to start doing more post-games for sure. But what was I going to say? We had darkness. The darkness. Clint, you worried that the Padres steal the division if we start dropping games? I mean, yeah. Fair. Not fair. It's definitely like a reality. It's absolutely in the realm of possibility. Dodgers lose, Padres keep winning. They could usurp. I think the thing I'm most worried about with that is the fan base, Padres fan base, just how awful it is to let them experience happiness and joy. So, but the Dodgers lose the division, I don't care. I've got enough divisions in my lifetime. I'm happy the Dodgers haven't won whatever it is, 14 in a row now, 13 in a row. I don't want to hear more that they're, this era's Atlanta Braves, 90s Braves. I'm good with that. I'm fine. Let me make it to the dance. That's all I care about. I don't care if I'm showing up to the dance in a limousine or if I'm showing up in a 79 Ford Pinto. Just don't hit me in the ass so I don't explode, because it is a Pinto and we know how those are. The Padres are going to play good. Padres are going to Padre. They were supposed to be good. Dodgers they're injured. That's a reality. They're playing without some of their best players. Would it suck? Would it be annoying? Oh, yeah. But I'm okay. I'm okay if it happens. I don't think it happens. Jeff, Locked On Dodgers, says the Padres are exactly as far behind as they were when the Dodgers finished their crazy-ass hot streak almost 2 months ago. So what you're telling me is all of that for a drop of blood? We leave you guys on a Marvel reference. With that, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. If you listened on the podcast side, leave a review on the podcast side if you wouldn't mind. Leave a 5-star rating if you can. Thank you for the great conversation here in the chat, as always. Love y'all for it. It's fun talking Dodgers baseball with you guys. And even though we'd rather be talking like during a game or after a game and all that, off-day shows are fun. I love doing off-day shows. It's a good time. So thank you so much for the comments. Thank you for the commentary. Thank you for the questions. Super chats. I think we got one in here today from our guy Noah Ortega. So thank you, Noah, for the super chat. I don't think I missed any. Reminder from Scott there. Tube in to Dodger Blue. He will be doing post game. I think he's doing post games every Tuesday night at the bare minimum, right, Scotty? So Dodger Blue's got your post game on Tuesday. They probably got it on Thursday, but come to my channel on Thursday because Kevin and I will be here. So I gotta hawk myself a little bit here. I gotta hawk two of myself. Wait, hold on. That's the only time I'll ever say that on the channel. Don't forget, Bleed Los, my guy at Bleed Los. Cody's going to be out there covering the game for them, getting all the post-game, pre-game, post-game stuff from Dave and the players. So check it out, Bleed Los. Give them a sub. They're doing great shit here on the internet as well. If you guys are looking for a different way to support the channel, obviously YouTube doesn't do great at paying me. I do this for fun, but if you're looking for a way to support the channel, show some appreciation, and keep the show going as strong and as long as we can, check it out on Patreon, patreon.com/realfrg. There's a couple of options in there. $5 a month. You can also join us talking Dodger baseball all day long sometimes on our Discord server. It's been really fun getting to know some more people on Discord. You get access to the voicemail hotline. There's another tier with other things. Same with YouTube members. Click that join button down here. you get access to Discord. You could come talk with us, hang out with us. Chico, I'm not dignifying that one with a response, but sometimes you say dumb things here on the internet. At least I didn't do a shoey. Shout out to good old times there. But guys, yeah, check it out. Patreon, if you wouldn't mind, I'd really, really appreciate it. Diane would appreciate it as well, because I think of anybody who's on here, she does a phenomenal job of trying to help me push Patreon. The same with Jenny Vega. Jenny's done a great job, and both of them are in Discord with us talking out. So shout out to also the mods for doing a kick-ass job here in the chat. All Dodgers is presented by Bet Online. Use that promo code BELIEVE. Let them know I sent you. Get $250 for it, kind of, sort of. You know what I said earlier. I'm Real FRG on all of the social media things. Give me a follow there if you're up for it. If not, cool. And I'll see you on the next one. Okay, bye.